Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Deez. This is my workshop. Today we're going to do some testing with some new tools. The new tools that I got are some collet holders. One is a hex and one is a square. So I wanted to start the video off before we do any test cuts with one of these, with just showing you what I got. I knew that I was going to want a hex holder so that if I wanted to create like a nut or something with 6 sides, I can easily do that with the collet holder. I've already got it. These are ER40s because that's what I have, ER40s, and I thought I'm gonna go ahead and get those because I know I'm gonna want to make a really cool flange nut or something like that, for something to fasten down on the lathe. Maybe a couple nuts for the vise just to make it look nicer and just something to do. I will need a radius cutter of some sort on an end mill at some point, because if I ever make a flange nut, I'd like to have that nice rounded bottom portion where the flange flares out. But at any rate, let me get some of this stuff out of the way. So these are the collet chucks, collet holders, collet chuck. They're not chucks, they're holders. And let's go ahead and get these out of here. They're pretty hefty. Again, you know, I knew I'm gonna want, you know, in order to be able to work on projects, you can buy the stuff as you need it. That's probably the wiser way to go about it. But I just want to have some, the way I work in the workshop is I come out here, and a lot of times I'll try to figure out, what do I want to work on today? And having a variety of tooling and different materials gives me that opportunity to just get in there and just start working on something. So here is the square holder, and here is the hex. So I haven't taken them out of here yet. They're ER40. They both come with a nut. I didn't buy bearing style nuts for these because I'm not gonna have, let me back you up here. You don't need to see me, you want to see the stuff. There we go. So these came with, they all seem to come with collet nuts and whatnot, but these particular ones came with their nut, the ER40, but they don't have the bearing style nut. Now I've got a couple of them already, for the one for the R8 collet, ER40 collet spindle adapter, and one for my ER40 collet chuck that I use on the lathe. I could also use that on the milling machine. But these are the two adapters or holders. Very nicely made, or seem to be very well machined. I don't know how well you can see that. The nuts go on there very smooth. Nice. So if you're not familiar, which most of you probably are, but what you're able to do is pick the size of the round stock that you're working on, get your collet, mount it in here, and let's say you have 3/4 inch. You find your 3/4 inch collet, you fasten it down inside this collet holder, and then you're able to mount this in the vise and mill flats. Rotate it, mill flats, rotate it, mill flats, and so on until you have your workpiece 6-sided. And you don't have to do any measuring, you don't have to do any fancy layouts. This just takes care of that. It looks very well made. I mean, time will tell on how true it is, but that's really what I was after, is the hex collet. And then I found a set that actually included a square collet, and I thought, you know, there's probably going to be a use where I'm going to need to be able to mill 4 sides equal out of round stock. Again, I can hold it with this ER40, and then I'm going to be able to mill 4 sides equally, squarely, using this holder. Machined very well. This one's actually got some laser etching on the back of it. ER40 and some I don't know, Chinese or Japanese, if you guys can read that. I don't know. I can't. Anyway, these, pretty nice. I'm not going to buy bearing, as I was talking about the bearing style nuts. What those do, when you're tightening down your collets, once it gets tight and it puts pressure onto your collet, that bearing is seated right about this area and will stop and let the outside of the nut rotate and clamp it down further, but it doesn't cause your collet to actually spin inside your holder, causing excess wear and premature end of life of those tools. So that's why I got those bearing style. But for these, I don't think I'll use them enough to where it will matter. So I'm just gonna stick with these, or I could use one of the nuts off of one of the other holders that I have. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. These are a couple of things that I really wanted to get to be able to work using the mill, and I thought you might be interested in seeing that. So we'll do some test cuts and make a mock nut or something with hex, and that's how we'll conclude this video. I don't think I'll actually make a nut. I just want to make something hex out of round. So that's what we'll do. There's the mill, and I have a project I'm going to work on. My first official actual project with this milling machine. It's a small one, but it's my first official project. Let's come over here to the lathe and see what I'm talking about. What do we got? We have my quick change tool post locking lever that I made, and I have no way to secure this without marring up the material. What can we do about that? Well, this one came with my quick change tool post, but you can see it's got flats milled into it in order to tighten down securely. So that's going to be our first project. I'm going to use the square, not the hex, the square collet holder, and we're going to mount this material up, and we're going to square off a couple flats so that we can use an 8mm wrench to tighten this sucker down. So that's today's project. It'll be fun. Finally, going to complete some of these projects that I wish I had a mill for. All right, everybody, that's going to be our first project. First actual real non-test cuts, just a real functionality project. We're going to use, I thought I was going to use my hex holder first, but this is a great way to use my square collet holder. That is what we're going to use. And it's a really simple project. I just want to mill two flats in this handle that I have for my lock lever on the lathe. You can already see that I've chewed it up a little bit, tightening it down, and I want to have, I'm going to go with millimeter because that's the wrenches that I have up there handy. Really doesn't matter. But I'm going to go with 8mm. One thing I wanted to check was, what is this actual 8mm? Does it measure 8? Measures a little over 8. So if I go with 8mm, this is 8.08, 8.1. So I want to go with 8mm between the two sides. The other thing is the distance between where it will screw in and where I want it down towards the base where it will screw in. I don't want the flats up here. I want them down here. So we're going to, let me measure what the other one is. I'll be right back. So the other one is about 12mm up from the flat, or from the base. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make that 12mm. That'll be where it starts. So let's mark that here. And we want to mark it 12. Actually, right on the money. Again, that is totally, that's not critical in any way, shape, or form. Honestly, I don't need to draw anything out here. Just put this away. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. First project with the square holder. This is why I wanted to purchase that, because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but this is going to work out great, I hope. So what I'm going to do is get out the bright collet to hold this. This would be 3/8, and then we'll hold the end mill, and we'll get that going. All right, here's the setup. I decided to go with a 5/16 end mill and a 3/8 collet for my rod. Reason being, the 3/8 is a common size for holding end mills, but I need that for this rod. So we're going to get this mounted up in the square holder. We're going to cut a couple slots. So let me get this mounted up. I just want to share that with you, and we'll bring you over here and we'll get our end mill mounted up and we'll cut this piece. So we'll loosen this up a bit. Should be good. And there we go. I'm not going to use parallels or anything for this, although I probably should, but honestly it's just so I can have some flats to mill on this rod here. That's good enough for what I need to do today. Here's our 5/16 hex collet, and that's going to hold our end mill. And we need our we want that to hold. Now we want to make sure, I'm sure that's going to clear, but let's bring that in. So I got to be real careful. I only want to take 2 to 3 thou off of that, and if we mess it up, we can use we can go down to 7mm. But let's do our touch off first, and then we will come down about 3 thou. I'm just going to make it 3 thou, and then we'll flip it over and we'll do 3 thou on the other side. So what I want to do is get this thing running, and then we want to touch off. I already set my x-axis. There we go. There's our touch off, z-axis. We're going to clear that, and I want to come down, like I said, 3 thou. So this is the trick. Might use I'm using the DRO, so we'll bump it down 3 thou. 1, 2, right there, and we're going to cut our slot. We're running about 400 and 500 RPMs. Take it real slow. Not much of a flat. I'm going to bring that down to 7mm. Let me do a little math reconfiguring. Alright, changed my mind. I'm going to make this a 1/4 inch. I don't know. So my math is way off, which is good because I need more flat than that. So what am I? Give me 1 second. All right, decimal places. I need to go 70 thou. 70 thou on each side will give me a 1/4 inch. So let's keep going. But I'll do it in halves. There's 30 thou. Which is quite a bit to take off. Let's jack that back up. Let's do 30. We'll see how this does. Down, we'll go all the way to 70 thou. Alright. And we'll bring that back up. And we'll repeat on the other side. Alright, bring that kind of slowly, 30 thou first, and we'll go 70. Down to 70. All right, one more pass. These are 30 thou depths of cuts. Let's make sure our 1/4 inch is going to fit this time. And it does. Excellent. So we can call our milling operation done. I'm going to bring it out and we'll do a test fit over on the lathe. There's our piece. This is our 1/4 inch slot. It's sharp. I'm going to use a file and take off these rough edges, just so you might be a better way, but I don't have like a deburring bit or a chamfer bit for the mill, so I'm just gonna just soften those edges just a little bit. It's better. They're still a little sharp, but yeah, that'll work. And finally, let's see how we did. Look at that. Milling machine. Fantastic. First official project to complete other projects. Well, we'll do a recap. My math was all over the place. I ended up having my decimals off. I needed to take 70 thou off, not 7 thou of that shaft, of the 3/8 shaft, in order to get 1/4 inch. But as you can see, there we go. Fits great with my 1/4 inch wrench, and I can tighten that down now properly. Pretty happy with this. First official project with the mill that proved to be a useful function. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that. I used 2 collets, the 5/16 and the 3/8. 3/8 held my rod, 5/16 was my mill. I guess that goes to something I've learned is you're going to need a variety of collets, which I already have, but you also need a variety of end mills in order to work with different materials in case you have a situation like I just had where I needed 2 3/8 end collets to hold the end mill and the material. Well, I just used a different sized end mill because it didn't matter for this project. I was able to get around that issue. Anyway, I'm really happy about that. I was able to improve my quick change tool post locking lever that I made. Now I'm able to tighten that thing down properly without actually marring it up. At any rate, I'm going to close the video here. I just wanted to share that with you. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Hope you enjoyed.